Hi everyone, my name is Meb Keflezighi, but I stand go by Meb because my name was too long. And I was born in Eritrea in East Africa, and my dad immigrated to Sudan and then eventually Italy. It's a long story, but there's a book called Run to Overcome if you're ever curious about it. But hopefully I'll share my story with you. And he has to walk over 225 miles to save his life from the war-torn of Eritrea to Sudan. And it took him 7 days. And then they didn't have the athletic opportunity. My mom was the husband, the wife, be able to do a lot of the work and no electricity, no running water. And every opportunities that we got, we try to maximize it to the best we can. But my running started as a seventh grade physical education class at San Diego. And I didn't choose the climate because I was a runner. I never ran before. It was just where my sister was living. And then she sponsored us to come there from Italy with the Red Cross. And, so the PE teacher, Coach Dick Lord, said, if you run hard, you're going to get an A or B. If you mess around or goof around, you're going to get a D or F. Well, I don't want to disappoint my parents. I want to get that A and a t-shirt that says Roosevelt Junior High Mile Club t-shirt, and I ran as hard as I could. It's a mile, so it's not a four laps around the track. It was more around the baseball field, go in the middle of the campus, down the ramp, around the softball field, and finish in the middle of the campus. And to get the A in a t-shirt, you have to run 6:15 for the boys and 8 minutes for the girls. I ended up running a 5:20, and that's when my God-given talent was discovered. And he said, you're going to go to the Olympics, and bear in mind, that was a year later after I was in the US. Olympic year, I have no idea what the word Olympic meant. I just said, did I get a t-shirt? Point out to the t-shirt and A. And that's all I care for. And with my little English. And then he put my picture in the gym. And everybody started getting to know me as the fastest seventh grader. And then, I was very shy and timid kid. But I think sport helped me get out of the self-confidence and helped me work with my academics and athletic. And I was a student athlete at UCLA, and I got a full scholarship the first time there, UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. They never gave a full scholarship to a distance runner. They did to me, and they took a risk, but I feel very proud to represent them, and then won 4 NCAA titles when I was there. And then now I stand in front of you as a four-time Olympian and Olympic silver medalist, and New York City Marathon, and then Boston Marathon champion. And for those of you, I will conclude hopefully with some other stories.
That is amazing. And I heard an elderly man once at a marathon where he said, I raced for the t-shirt. So that kind of made me think of that. So we're just going to jump straight into student questions because I've already got a lot emailed to me. Guys, keep them coming in the chat to me. So one of the kids wanted to know, how did you train for your first marathon, and how has your training evolved since then?
Great question. And I was a miler and became a 5K runner and 10K runner. So speed and stamina was very important to me. But at the same time, a marathon, for those of you who don't know, is 26.2 miles, and it takes a lot of hard work. So I train twice a day. So people say, how often do you run? I tell them I run 12 times a week. And they're like, well, there's only 7 days in a week. I said, well, I run 5 times twice a day. And I put it out anywhere, high school, I was 45 miles a week. In college, I was 45 to 55 to 65. And then eventually, I think 98, I broke 100 miles a week. And then eventually, you might know me as a marathoner, but I broke the American record in the 10K in 2001. And then Olympics in 2000, there was an odd year, no Olympics, no World Championship. So I'm like, let me see what this marathon is all about, because people always say you're going to be a beautiful marathoner. And I'm like, how far is that? I'm like 26.2. I'm like, no way, I'm a miler. And then I was 27-year-old when I did my first marathon. It was in New York City. It was tough. It was hard. But I trained about 100 to 120 miles a week and worked hard, and I felt great. When you train in that, you're like, okay, I think I could win this. And I got down 4 people, and then eventually got it down to maybe 3 I can win, and then maybe finish 4th. And then I'm like, I threw my beanie away. It was cold, 38-degree weather. And then I just, my gloves away. And then the cold 38-degree kind of beat me up. And then instead of a nice cadence, I'll start stamping the ground. I got to 5th place, 6th place. I ended up getting 9th place, which is an amazing, at the biggest marathon in the world. And I ran 2 hours and 12 minutes and 35 seconds, but I missed the Olympic A standard time that you have to get sub 2:12, and I'm like, I'm not doing a marathon. This is my first marathon and last marathon. I never want to do it again. But thankfully, I went back to Eritrea. I saw how people were living from sunrise to sunset without electricity, running water. I said, you know what? It was a choice that I did the marathon. I can't wait to do another one. And then I came back very motivated.
And I know we have a lot of students on here who are familiar with Eritrea because we had a guest speaker from there to talk about the political strife and all that kind of stuff. So my hat's off to you for surviving that, and we're definitely glad that you came over here. And so one of our other kids, they emailed, they wanted to know, can you describe a moment during a race where you found it particularly challenging and how you overcame that adversity?
I wish I had more time to talk about that one, but every run hurts, and but the more you condition yourself, the better you get. So I will tell you about this story. People often ask me, "Do you enjoy the scenery?" Not really, because I'm trying to analyze my competitors, see how their posture is, how their form is, how they're doing mechanically, and are they spinning too much? They're getting tired. So in 2012. So in 2000, I made my first Olympic team. 2004, I won a silver medal. 2008, I had pelvic stretch fracture during the trials at the New York City Marathon, where I was looking so much for a win, but you don't always get what you want. And I was struggled. I was the favorite to win because I was second to Olympics, second in New York, third in New York, third in Boston. I'm like, I want that win. But unfortunately, my good friend Ryan Shea, he had a cardiac arrest and passed away. And then I kept pushing and pushing. I thought I was gonna win it, and then I came to second, use that person, and then to third place, then to fourth place. And then eventually I'm like, well, maybe I could be an alternate and maybe second alternate in case some people choose to do the different events. And then I finished the race. Here's the thing. You have goals, you have dreams to want to achieve it. Sometimes they might not come when you want them. I'm a believer, a Christian. It happens in God's time. And that time, I really thought I trained harder than anything I ever did to win it, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen when I wanted. So I was on my knees and elbows, moving around from one room to the next, or even to go to the closet or the bathroom on my knees and elbows. I couldn't put a weight. And we had no idea what has happened to me because they thought it was a tough course. A marathon is hard, especially in Central Park in New York. So I just dug deep and finished the race. But what I did was, I'm happy with the silver medal. I'm happy with the American record. If this is the end of my career, I'm okay with it. I came to peace and I asked for God's blessing, but I knew internally there was more in the tank to do things. So I kept pushing and pushing, train harder. It took me about a year and a half of physical therapy to be able to rehab my pelvic stretch fracture. It was realized I had pelvic stretch 10 weeks later. So when I came back, there's no guarantees, but you could do your part, what you can control. I was doing a lot of swimming. I'll go jogging in the pool for an hour and a half to 2 hours where I was smelling like chlorine. But I didn't, in hindsight, it was all worth it now. But at that time, there was no guarantee that I was going to even come back to normal running because it was horrific. So you have to be able to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your training and you surround yourself with good people and dig deeper. Sometimes not going your way is an indicator of what's to come in the future versus saying I failed. And one example I'm going to tell you a short story is in 2012 at the Olympic Games in London. I wasn't having the best day, but I was going to quit. I was going to drop out because I was 21st place at the halfway mark with 13 miles to go. But then I realized, looking down, I saw my USA jersey. How many people love to be in my shoes? And you know what? A lot. So I said, you know what? If I'm going to be a good example to my kids, I have three daughters, just get to the finish line. And I thought I was going to be finished 50th. And no matter how many people passed me, I was going to finish. And then, but positive thinking is important. From 21st place, I went to 17th to 10th. And then before I realized it, my coach pointed out I was in sixth place. And I said, well, I'm going to be the Japanese guy next to me. I'll sit out and kick him. But then I realized, how about who's in the front? I didn't even know who's winning, who's getting second and third. If one of them get busted with drugs, that fourth place is going to get the bronze medal. So I'm like, no, I got to fight for it. So with 1K to go, I changed my mind. And amazingly, I didn't win a medal, but I came in fourth place. So be in the moment, be in the moment to be able to get the best out of yourself. That fourth place was the room that gave me even to make another Olympic team and the potential to win New York and Boston. So don't give up in the hope and be in the moment, work hard and have fun. And positive thinking is important when you are in the moment.
That's wonderful advice. And you just answered like 10 questions. But I wanted to touch on your faith because you've inspired so many people And you just talk about just inspiring your daughters, but you've inspired people all over the world with your story of overcoming fear. Because can you talk a little bit about that? Where, because that is, a faith based kind of mentality where you don't want to give in to that fear. You want to overcome it and go into the wilderness, so to speak, and have faith that everything is going to be okay. What is that like?
You guys are smart boys and girls, or men and women that can do great things in life. My biggest fear was I always prayed, I don't want to disappoint my parents, but I don't want to disappoint God. But at the same time, I'm like, I was running in San Diego, like, by downtowns where I went to school, and there was a lot of homeless people. I said, they were ordinary people just like me. How did they end up there? I said, God, please don't get me into that situation. And we make decisions. Sometimes it can be great decision or it can be turn around decision, but we have to. My dad always said, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. So for me, it was important to surround myself with that. But fear of failure is it will make you get up early in the morning and train. It will make you work hard in school, go to the library and things like that. um yeah, I think it's important to know your identity, and faith has played a big role, not only in me, but my parents and my siblings. And my dad, if it was my dad, that 225 miles that he walked over could have been the end of it. But I know there was a more will for him to be able to survive and save us afterwards. So to start your day is to be able to just positive thinking is important. The world is not perfect. We're no human is perfect, but at the end of the day, what can you do something productive to be the best version of yourself? It's not about foot. I always say run to win. It doesn't necessarily mean to win a full race, but getting the best out of yourself and listening to your parents, your guidance or teachers and coaches. There's so many people that want to help you be the best of you. So keep at it.
That is wonderful advice. We have a question from Selena, and she is in France. Selena, you had an awesome question. Go ahead and unmute to ask.
Yes, hello. I'm a huge fan, and I just wanted to know what tips would you give to beginner runners?
Yeah, Selena, that's a great question. The hardest part about running is getting out the door, putting your shoes on and go. I don't know if he said France. I don't know. Maybe he said, perhaps said maybe France or something.
Yes. Yes.
What a great motivation for you, Selena. The Olympics are coming to your backyard, and it's a dream come true. Not that everybody can be an Olympian, but what you can do is, you know what? One of the best, all walks of life, no matter no size, no height, no weights or whatever, the best of the best are coming. So for runners is, you know what, you might have to walk around the block. Sometimes, whether it's a public transportation or going to the train, you be able to walk to it instead of taking the bus to get to the destination if it's safe, and if you are able to do that, and then a walk becomes a run. It might not say a 5K or 10K or a marathon, but look at a block or a mile walk, especially maybe after evening dinners or something that you can do. Eat dinner and then go for a walk. Or if you're going to run in the morning before you go to class or something and be able to do that. Or maybe it's the weekend, maybe if you can do that once or twice. And more importantly, if you can meet somebody, you're going to show up, they're going to show up. So accountability is there. That would be my advice, to be able to say, hey, let's meet for a walk or run, and then it becomes a lot more easier.
So there was a question they want to know, how do you balance your physical and mental aspects of running in preparation during races? Because there's that thing of hitting the wall. And can you describe that a little bit? Like a time you've hit the wall or almost hit the wall, and how you went through it.
Absolutely. The key to success is preparation. You have to prepare for yourself to whatever, if it's a 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, or school in general, or your first interview to go to work. You got to do your homework. The same thing with running. Once you've done that, on race day, is 90% is mental, 10% is physical. So now how do you play in the mind game? It's like a chess game. Who's going to make those moves? Who's going to make those? Who's 1/3 of the field that I compete against are overtrained, and the other ones are going to suck themselves out. So I want to be the 1/3 to be able to just excel on that and hopefully not burn out going to the starting line. So it's a mind game, but at the same time, if you've done the preparation, and then you should relax. You shouldn't be not intense going to the race. And I think it's important to know sometimes there's ranking, there's somebody's better than you, and this, that. And I'll tell you with the story maybe, and as we conclude close to conclusion is When I went to the Boston Marathon in 2014, some of you might know that 11 years ago the bombing happened and we lost 4 people in that terrorist attack. But I was in that afternoon for 4+ hours watching the race. I missed the bombing by 5 minutes. So there's something tells I had an appointment. And then that evening, Bonnie Ford from ESPN asked me, "Are you gonna come back? Are you scared to bring your family?" I remember telling her, "I hope to be healthy enough to win it for the people." Even though a year later, my time was the 15th fastest guy in the field, I was 2 weeks shy of my 39th birthday, which is old for a marathoner, and I had less than 1% chance, according to expert, to win this race. But nobody can test your heart. Nobody can test every day for 365 days that nobody, when the camera is watching, you're doing the best that you can to prepare. On race day, it's 90% mental. I gave me a great honor to lead the 36,000 people who want to do something positive in 2014. And on April 21st, 2014, my dream came true to win the Boston Marathon. And, I wasn't the fittest at that time, but I wrote the victim's name to draw inspiration, to honor them. So, went viral. Sometimes with the bibs, you're not supposed to tamper with it, but to be able to just take the emotion and turn it something catastrophic to something positive. And I know you guys, this is not an Olympic medal, but I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary. This is really nice medal. Well, doesn't be that far away. This is the Boston Marathon there. And nobody can say you can't do, but only you can tell what your destination is. Even the circumstance might be difficult. So believe in yourself and your team, and always look for help in whatever things that you want to do, because there's so many people that want to help you. There's a saying, East African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, and there's been so many people that contributed to my success. And I'll tell you with this one, if it wasn't my dad's boss in Italy, where my dad asked him for a loan of 10 million lira, which was about 6,000 US dollars, to help and save his family. And my dad asked him for that. And he says, "How much you need?" He said, 10 million lira. And Dr. Brundici, his boss, says, "Come back on Wednesday." Dr. Brundici gave him 10 million lira, and it wasn't a loan. He said, "This is not a loan, it's a gift." If it wasn't for that gift, I would not be able to be here to tell you the story. And my brother and sisters, I'm one of 11, all of us have gone to college and done something spectacular. But also, on behalf, also about giving back. On behalf of Dr. Brundisher, for my 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon, I just gave 24,000 to 4 different organizations, of 6,000, just about exactly less than 2 weeks ago today. So it is all about playing it forward and be the best version of yourself and help others achieve their goals.
Man, God is good. Like just working through you. I mean, that's amazing. I had a question myself. Now you've achieved so much in your career. What do you plan on doing next? I mean, it's just you still seem, obviously you're young and like you just have so much full of life and just what are your plans?
Ralph, for me, is the sport has done so much in my life. I feel very blessed to be able to help others, with a lot of work within my foundation, but also I'm looking at it as a global ambassador. And I just signed with New Balance, with a US-based company, to be able to be an ambassador for them, to be able to help people get the best out of some, like the lady that just asked the question, to be able to help them be the best version of themselves. It's important to exercise. You guys are students, but at the same time, you can't study 24 hours. You got to get sleep right, got to study hard, smart. You have to have some kind of physical exercise. So for me, the sport has changed my life, and I would love to give back as much as I can, especially with the Meb Foundation, which is maintaining excellent balance through health, education, and fitness for young kids just like yourself. Some of them need inspiration like we're doing today, and others need gears. And I'm so proud to be able to partner up with New Balance to make those dreams come true, because some people never own tents in their lifetime. So to be able to do that, it just gives me a thrill of a lifetime.
That's amazing. And guys, if you want to learn more, check out mebfoundation.org. We'll also have it in the video and the podcast when we release this for social media. So, Meb, you have one of my favorite quotes, and you kind of paraphrased it there, and this will lead into our final question. This comes from Run to Overcome, the inspiring story of an American champion's long distance quest to achieve a big dream. That's a long title. But you said in the book, I realized that winning doesn't mean getting first place. It means getting the best out of yourself. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for these kids?
Absolutely. I was a sophomore in high school when my mentor, Dr. Van Camp and Gail Van Camp, were telling me, "So you ready for the state meet?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Are you gonna win?" I was like, "I'm gonna give it my best." But if you finish fifth, but you run your personal best, are you gonna be happy? I'm like, absolutely, I'm gonna be happy because if I ran the fastest time that I ever ran, if somebody has worked harder than I do or are smarter than me, then they deserve to win. But eventually, I'm gonna work as hard as I can to get that. So that's when run to win kind of created. And it doesn't mean getting first place, but getting the best out of yourself. And so in everything, it's not about just running a foot race. Is I want to be the best dad that I can be and the best mentor that I could be. I'm not perfect by any means, but at the end of the day, if you can have a positive influence to others, it's very important. That's winning in itself. So you guys are very young. You have the whole future ahead of you, but work hard and smart and be able to just be the best position to help yourself and be able to be in position to help yourself. Hopefully one day you guys will be on this side of me where I am to give them back to the next generation. So keep your dream and hopes alive. It's not going to be smooth. There's a run to overcome sometimes. When you are at the weakest or you feel like it's not possible, you have to rise to the occasion and get to that finish line as the best you can. Even like Rio Olympics, I stopped 7, 8 times, and then I fell at the end. But just like life, life gives you lemon, and you got to make a lemonade. And sometimes it's not how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. As you will discover yourself in the future, you're not gonna get all the grades that you maybe think you deserve or you worked hard for, but don't let that stuff hinder you or stop you from what you're gonna be able to be overcome.
You're wonderful, sir, and we can't thank you we can't thank you enough for spending so much time with us and giving us so much inspiration. So before I end the meeting before I end it, I'm going to allow everyone to unmute, and can we all say thank you to Meb for talking to us today? Thank you so much, Meb. We appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.